Hello, and welcome to Your Access Smart Talks.
The Smart Talks podcast series is an EU-funded Euraccess project, which provides information and assistance to researchers at any career stage.
Euraccess supports the European research area in its ambition to create a single, borderless market for research, innovation, and technology across the EU.
We support researchers in mobility, careers within and beyond academia, innovation, and entrepreneurship.
We strive to enhance scientific collaboration between Europe and the world. According to research conducted in Harvard and Stanford universities, only 15% of your career success is provided by your hard skills, whilst other 85% by so-called soft skills. Soft skills get little respect, but will make or break your career, said Peggy Klaus. It's often said that hard skills will get you an interview, but you need soft skills to get and keep the job. Unlike hard skills, which comprise a person's technical skill set and ability to perform certain functional tasks, soft skills are interpersonal and broadly applicable across job titles. Let's explore how Italy bridges the gap between academia and industry. We are very happy to introduce our expert that found the possibility to share her experience with us, Lucia Salto, from the University of Turin. She is project coordinator, career development facilitator for PhDs working on international networking development. So, Lucia, thank you also very much for joining us today. And our first questions would be, what are the essential skills if you decide to move to non-academic sectors? What would your advice be?
I'm very happy to be here today and to give my little contribution. What are the essential skills for PhD when they decide to move to other sectors, when they have to move to companies? There are many, and they already have, in most cases, these skills. I try to sum up to be very concise. I would say, first of all, I think that you have to try to understand the job market and to think what they are expecting from you. They want adaptable candidates. So adaptability is being open to changes is for sure an essential skill when you decide to move, to apply for a position somewhere else, so outside academia. Communication skills is a vital skill. Career development is a process, a lifelong process, and so communication is a vital skill. Anyway, leadership skills. Problem solving, the work you do will evolve from task-based work at the very beginning into, I guess, strategy-based solutions. So companies, and so Filippo Armellino is an expert, I'm sure that will explain better than me. So problem solving is for sure a very appreciated skill. Time management. There are many skills, but these are some capability to negotiate, creativity, flexibility, and this list with some of the skills they are looking for when they are hiring, when they want to hire new position. As a matter of fact, are skills already that PhD graduates have because they developed this kind of skills during their doctoral training. If they are not able to manage time, if they are not good at time management, they won't be able to finish in time their PhD. They have to negotiate. They have to constantly negotiate with their supervisor before defending their dissertation. Also, so communication. They have to be able to communicate difficult concepts to the audience, as companies are in search of this kind of candidates. Being flexible and adaptable, so being open to changes, because if you want to progress, if you want career development, if you want to little by little progress in your work, you have to be flexible. I would say also maybe intercultural skills are interesting, I think, for many companies. If you say that you explain that you were abroad during your research to carry out research, it doesn't only mean that you speak more than one foreign languages, but also that you are able to interact with different cultures. I would just so we in our within the context of our activities for PhD, we always try to give tips and tricks to help them prepare their next move. I would say start working now, so as soon as possible on your career path. Don't wait. At the end of your PhD. Try to assess your current skills, interests, and experience, and to work on your strengths and weaknesses.
Thank you very much, Lucia, for joining us. That was very informative, and I'm sure both the skills you emphasized and the tips and tricks that you provided us with will be extremely helpful for people interested in moving from academia to industry.
Yes, well, the skills are many. I tried just to be concise because this is an interview, but I can then, if of interest, send you my slide presentation. One of our focus are our skills, transferable skills, because the problem is that PhD graduates have to be to learn to transfer, to translate their skills, this kind of skill they already have, to industry if they want to move there to be to get an adequate position due to their to such a high qualification.
Academia should also provide such kind of informative courses for their PhDs to allowing them to know a little bit more, to explore a little bit more in the world of industry, or it should just focus on academia and that's it, and this is their own path.
No. We are aware that we start. So our program, our activity started. We were strongly convinced that PhD are made for the knowledge society. Early career research are extremely useful for knowledge society. So first of all, we know that it is very, very difficult to get a permanent position in academia, and it is impossible for academia to hire all of them. And anyway, in my experience, I saw that some of them, at a certain point of their career, they realized that academia was not, in fact, their dream job. When they learned how to explore, when they understood, they understood the job market and the wide variety of alternative careers, of top careers outside academia, and careers for PhD, where these kind of skills are sought for and are essential. So, and our program is more focused. There are also webinar workshop for general project management. So for the ones who intend to pursue an academic career, but we are focusing on the others, on the high percent of the others who, like it or not, will have to move to other sectors, or international organizations, or industry, or maybe they can also become startuppers, and so they have to be equipped with all these kind of skills. And I'm also very grateful to Filippo Armellino, who we have been working together, I think, for 5 years, and he always is always very available. He's available when we organize this kind of mock interview, simulated job interview, to make our PhD graduates understand how it works outside, how it works in terms of recruitment process, because it's very different from the academic world.
Yes. So exactly, we can switch to Filippo. Thank you very much for joining us today, who has extensive experience in Ferrero. He is HR business partner for several functions in Italy, especially finance, legal, IT, procurement, HR. So as member of the Italian HR leadership team, he is responsible of some transversal projects involving all the Ferrero Italian populations, by the way. So we are really honored that we can have an interview today with you and explore a little bit more on actually what is there for PhDs, and could we have just a short introduction about the company in case there are any people in the world who do not know what it is Ferrero or haven't tried its productions? But can you give us a short overview of the company?
Hello to everyone. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. It's always a pleasure to talk about this topic for me. So, thank you again. Okay, of course, Ferrero is a multinational company. It's a company that is born in 1946 in this little town in Piedmont in Alba, and now it's a multinational company that has plants and business units all over the world, with about 40,000 people working in the company all over the world. So we, of course, create a sweet package food product. There are some core products like, Ferrero Rocher or Nutella that are well known all over the world. And then we have local products that are, for example, in Italy, we have Estate that is sold only in Italy. And in the last years, we also started acquiring new companies, especially in the biscuit sector, but also ice creams, and we enlarge the business of the company.
While I would love to talk about ice cream and chocolate all day long with you, unfortunately, that's not the purpose of our discussion today. So I would like to ask you, Filippo, can you tell us a little bit about your recruitment process in Ferrero?
Sure. Talking about the recruitment process, I like to start from a step ahead, if you want. That is the what we call attraction. So basically, we work a lot on employer branding and to be attractive to the students, to possible employee, to future employee. In particular, we work a lot with universities, so we have this opportunity to have these days with career days with universities, but also we are present in social networks such as LinkedIn or Instagram, and we try to convey our values, the way of working that we have, and so trying to be attractive to the possible employees. Of course, this is the very first step. Then we start the recruitment process. Means that once that we have a vacancy, we post these vacancies on our internet site. It is Ferrero Careers. We usually post the vacancy first of all internally, because we have an internal job posting. We want our employees to have the opportunity to grow inside the company, and that's of course one important step, the internal job posting. Then if we have no internal opportunities, we go outside. And with the job posting, we collect the CVs in the job posting, and we do a first screening. The first screening is basically on the core skills that we underlined in the job posting. Usually the job posting is written based on required soft skill and technical skills. Once that we open the CV, we check if the CV has the hard and soft skill. If there are not these competencies that we require, the CV does not go forward. On the other hand, the CVs that are okay, the first step is a test. We use SHL tests that are basically verbal, numbers, logical, and English test. If these tests are passed with a good point, then the other step is an assessment center. The assessment center is related to the soft competencies, basically the soft skills that we look for, that are the main, the managerial potential managerial skills that the people have, because of course we are talking about people that maybe have never worked before in a company. So we assess also the potential skills. This assessment is done externally by an external company, and if the assessment then is passed, then we have the interview with HR and line manager. Usually we have a couple of interviews, and then we decide for the final candidate with the economical offer and the starting date.
We are just curious, what kind of positions do you offer to PhD graduates? Could you name a couple?
Yes, but we usually hire PhDs in technical roles, I have to say. Basically in laboratories. We have raw material laboratories, we have finished product laboratories, and we usually hire PhD there. Sometimes the PhDs that we are there had already some experience with us because they did their PhDs together with Ferrero and University, so they already worked with us before finishing their PhD. But other times they just start working with us after the PhD, because we have, I have to say, a great collaboration with universities in Italy and also abroad. So this is something very, very important. So if you want, these are the main areas in which we usually hire PhDs.
So what you value most, technical skills and already experienced workers, or education that can actually in the future be more valuable because they can take over something like administrative work?
Thank you. No, I think that the main difference that we see is the fact that, as Lucia Salto said before, that the PhD today are prepared not only on the technical side, but also in other areas such as communication, such as team working. And this is something that it's also very important for us. Why? Because we hire the person in a certain role, but usually we do not think that the person will play the same role for 20, 30, 40 years. So we see usually the career path from a technical role to managerial role. Not everyone can do or want to do this kind of change, but for the people that want to do it, it's important for us to know that they have the competencies to do it. So, and what we see in the PhDs today is that they acquired some of these competencies during their PhD, and they after some years in the technical side, they can easily take then a managerial role, managing people, managing projects, and having a career in this way inside the company in Italy or also abroad. We have people that started here, then went to manage a laboratory in Singapore, for example.
That's very, very interesting. And just piggybacking on what you were saying about hiring from academia and your close relationships with universities, is there anything specific that Ferrero looks out for when hiring PhDs from academia specifically? Any sort of differences when hiring from academia versus hiring people who might have come from technical roles in other companies or from industries other than academia?
No, I mean, every recruiter has his own list of questions. No, the things that we try to do in Ferrero is to be consistent, apart from the specific question in a way. So we want really to understand if the candidate has the skills that we are looking for, technical and managerial, and has the ability to also be also able to integrate inside the company, because something that we see usually with people with a lot of experience from other companies is the difficulties to integrate, because every company has its own different way of working. For PhDs, this is if you want, simple, because they have no other company experience, but is more difficult in some ways than newly graduated without a PhD, because they have the academia working style. Sometimes this is something that is difficult to stop and start the new way of working inside a company. What is the main difference that I saw in the past? If you want, sometimes the main difference for me is the fact that in a company we have to work looking at the business. What I see is that sometimes from a PhD experience, you work to have some result, of course, that can maybe can be also a business, but not necessary. So this is in terms of timing, in terms of resources. So this is something you have to change your mind once you enter in a company. We do a lot of research. We do a lot of research on raw material, on other things, but the research has to be linked to the business. This is the main difference that I see, and sometimes they try to be specific on this during the interviews with PhDs, because sometimes they are okay to change the mentality. Other times they understand that maybe a company is not the right place for them, because they prefer to be more on research for research, let me say.
May I have one applicable question, like really applicable? So first of all, my takeaway from what you have said already was to prepare yourself, prepare your CV or cover letter, for example, looking for job offers on the portal, and looking for these keywords that should be like matching your skills, personal, and so on. So this first step would be to design your CV and cover letter in line with these requirements. The second part is when you are inviting them to the interview. So how do I, for example, as a PhD candidate that would like to switch from academia to your company, how should I prepare myself to this second part? So should I explore the site, know more about your company, understand how you are working, or it is not the case, for example?
Okay, thank you. First point for me is to be clear with yourself. So understand what you want to do. Understand which are your interests, which are your what guides you. No. So if you see that if you are curious about what's inside a company on an industry, what I see that is very useful, and what, as I said before, we usually do with some university we work with, is to have students, PhD students, working with us on some projects. I know that also other company does that, and this is, of course, a way for the PhD students to have a direct touch with a company. Usually they then decide to apply for a job inside the company. Other times they say, no, I saw the company, I prefer not to work inside the industry, I prefer to work with organization, university, whatever. This is, of course, a good opportunity. If you have now the opportunity to work with specific projects inside a company, what I suggest is to ask people working in the company, try to be curious, to make questions, try to deep dive some issues you don't know. Also, maybe applying to some job posting can be also an exercise if you want to start having a look at what is on the other side after academia.
We heard from Lucia earlier about some tricks and tips for PhD students, PhD researchers who want to move from academia to industry. In your experience, do you find that there's any sort of recommendation that you can give, having received many applications from PhDs in academia who want to switch over to industry but aren't necessarily ready yet? Do you have any recommendations that you can give them that will make their transition easier or will make them more likely to be accepted in the industry in the company?
Generally speaking, not only for PhDs, but in general for every candidate, I think every recruiter appreciate if the candidate is prepared about the company. Okay, then of course Ferrero is a big company. It's, at least in Italy, everyone knows very well Ferrero, so sometimes they are prepared without looking at the internet site. But generally speaking, for every company, if you go and apply and you have an interview, it's better to be prepared about the company, something that is show you are interested in the company. So this is, of course, something important. The other things before even starting the interview is to be in time. This is also something that is very valued when you go to an interview. So be in time, be prepared about the company. Then, of course, it depends on the kind of interview. Try to understand when you are contacted for the interview, is a general interview. So basically, if the recruiter just asks you questions about your CV, what you have done, what you want to do, and then explain you the position. Or if it's a technical interview, because we can have also technical interview with the line manager. In that case, maybe you have to be prepared on some issues. So better to ask if is a technical interview if you have to be prepared on some specific issue. On the other hand, if it's a general interview or even if it's a technical interview, be prepared also with some questions from your side. So usually at the end of the interview, the recruiter asks if you have questions. It's something also that show your interest and curiosity. If you have not 200 questions, but 2-3 questions about the role, about the company, and so on. Be sincere, be clear. Try to not to make up, let's say, not to show things that you have not experienced, but really try to sometimes understand that the competence that you are asked for, maybe you have acquired without knowing that the competence that are listed in the job request. Because as Lucia Salto said before, sometimes they during the PhD experience a lot of these competencies, and they manage and they have these competencies, but they don't know it's called team working, for example, or they do not give a name to this competence. So it's important also to try to understand if they already acquired some of these competencies, and then tell to the recruiter how they did acquire these competencies. Because sometimes this show that they have the knowledge that is requested for the role. I don't know if I answered the question.
No, you definitely answered my questions, and I also wanted to ask about if it is okay to ask questions. You've already approached this thing, because not probably everyone welcomes questions, and you've also named that how much it is appropriate and how much questions it is not appropriate. So
one question, I think that, sorry if I interrupt, the question maybe about the salary, not in the first interview.
Oh, this is also an appropriate question. Okay, no, I didn't know it.
I mean, in Italy, at least we are used to have this conversation in the last phase of the recruitment process. Of course, it could be a question that you made during the first touch with the candidate, especially if the candidate has already a senior candidate, because you have to understand as a recruiter if the candidate is in line with the budget that you have for the position or not. But otherwise, we usually touch this point at the end of the recruitment process. I know that probably in other countries it's different, but
the last question. Sorry, how long could this recruitment process last? Like 2 months?
Yes, we have to consider from 2 to 4 months.
Okay, so if you are not contacted by the company in the most 4 months, then you shouldn't wait any longer. Yes.
Consider that it should be that every candidate received a feedback.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Even if they are not selected. So basically, sometimes it happens that they have to wait until the closure of the recruitment. So let me say 4 months, more or less. But usually they receive before, because once that we screen the CVs, the ones that are not selected, they already received a negative feedback about that specific recruitment. So usually everyone should have a feedback in short or a little bit longer period, but everyone should receive a feedback.
Okay, thank you very much. In case you have any general statement or message for our early stage PhDs, because it is our usual audience, please take your time.
But basically, as I said before, I think it's important to be curious. Try really to understand what I want to do in my career, and my suggestion really is to start with the end in mind. So really try to understand what you want to do, and then start approaching to the industry, the company that you like.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to you.
Thank you very much, Filippo. If you are interested in applying to Ferrero, you can head to ferrerocareers.com. Please remember not to bring up salary until the last stage of the interview. Thank you again for coming on our podcast, and good luck and best of luck with everything.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Euraccess Smart Talks.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and can't wait to share more with you next time.
You can follow us and find more episodes on the Euraccess portal or wherever you listen to podcasts.
This episode was prepared by audio engineer Pavle Drashkovich, outreach manager Daria Aksionova, production manager Jacob Wiesenfeld, editors Isar Pier and Miroslav Trajanovic.
This episode is published under the Creative Commons CC BY license.
Thanks for listening.